Before diving in the story of Windows Vista, we had to know some things about Windows XP, why it was loved and the best operating system of that time. In 2001, Microsoft Windows XP was released, and within a short period of time, it became the most popular and loved operating system of that time. There were mainly three reasons for that system requirement. To run Windows XP, you will need at least a 233 MHz processor, 64 MB of RAM, and 1.5 GB of available hard disk space. However, it is recommended to have faster processor, 128 MB of RAM, and more storage for optimal performance. User interface and compatibility. Windows XP was a good looking, colorful, and vibrant operating system which hooked in people's eyes. It was easier and friendly to use. People can run Windows 2019 programs in it, which made it gold at that time. Security. Windows Firewall is a firewall component of Microsoft Windows. It was first included in Windows XP SP2 and Server 2003 SP1. Before the release of Windows XP Service Pack 2, it was known as the Internet Connection Firewall. Now we know why Windows XP is popular and loved by people all around. Here's the market share of Windows XP in 2006. Almost 80% of the market was occupied by Windows XP in 2006, just before the release of Windows Vista. The story of Windows Vista.
Of Windows Vista in Office 2007.
What is now called Vista.
Vista sadly failed to live up to its marketing hype.
5 months before the release of XP, Microsoft had already started their work on their upcoming operating system, whose code name was Longhorn. By the last few months of 2003, the development of Windows Vista suffered a setback when Microsoft realized that they were not making a good progress. It seemed as if there was no apparent focus on what the final product. The path of Longhorn then had to be properly mapped with the goal of making Vista better. It somehow became apparent in the middle of 2003 that Longhorn will never make it for an early release. The release was pushed to the early part of 2005. Some saw this as a sign of Microsoft's commitment to the development of the new system. By 30 April 2004, a hint of Arrow transition was seen for the first time. The day theme and the additional sidebar tiles were seen on another build leak on May 4, 2004. The final stretch. Arrow was the name of the shiny hardware accelerator GUI in Windows Vista. Arrow finally came into focus in April 1, 2005 build, 2 months after the name Windows Vista was unveiled. For many, the name brought the hope of achieving greater ease and clarity. On July 27, 2005, Windows Vista Beta 1 was released. Beta testers had their first taste of a new user interface, virtual folder, parental control, and networking stacks. Windows Vista Beta 2 followed on May 23, 2006, which was made downloadable for users. On number 8 2006, the final build has been made. The final product was finally made available on the market on January 30, 2007. Windows Vista build 5112 was a beta 1 version of Windows Vista. It was one of the first beta 1 class to be compiled, and certainly the first Vista build to become widely available. At this point in development, Microsoft had decided that Vista will be the final name of the operating system, hoping to boost the image and perception of the product among end users. Jim Alchin expressed enthusiasm for the name, stating, "Vista creates the right imagery for the new product capabilities and inspired the imagination with all possibilities of what can be done with Windows, making people's passions come alive." However, the name Longhorn was still used in numerous areas such as within the About Windows dialog box, the register info for WinLogon, the XML data for install.ym file, and on the boot screen. This is to be expected considering that this build was compiled 2 days before the announcement of the name changed to Vista. The name Vista was only mentioned on the desktop watermark. Windows Vista was huge in one thing, that is Windows Arrow. It was a design language introduced in Windows operating system. The changes introduced by Windows Arrow encompass many elements of the Windows interface, with the introduction of new visual style with an emphasis on animation, glass, and transparency. New cursors and sound based on Windows Arrow design principle was also introduced. Arrow required a direct graphic card or graphic driver. This is Arrow without hardware acceleration. And this is Arrow with hardware acceleration. Arrow was beautiful and vibrant. We can see the Windows border blurriness effect, glass effect, and all the transition Arrow provide. Arrow was included in Windows 7. Windows Arrow has two huge things, blur effect and glass effect. So what changed in previous version of Windows and in Windows Vista? What was the difference in both of these operating systems? Introduction of Arrow, fully changed and customizable theme, new Windows Explorer. New things in Beta 1, games. Windows Vista includes an activity center of sorts of called games or games explorer that aggregates all of the games installed on the system into one single location. By default, you only see the silly little games Microsoft provides with Vista, FreeCell, Hertz, Minesweeper, Solitaire, and many more. Fax. Windows Vista Beta 1 features a new fax console that includes a fax configuration wizard and a fax cover page editor. The console itself is set up like an email client. But what about the performance? Was it laggy or demanding OS? Surprisingly, Windows Vista Beta 1 was a speedy performer. In fact, you wouldn't be surprised to see statistics showing that it's already faster than XP on the same hardware. Since early betas are generally not tuned for performance, plus Vista has an incredibly dense UI compared to XP. Compatibility. One of the big issues with any early beta is compatibility, both hardware and software so far. Vista Beta 1 has been problematic in this area while much mainstream software appears to work fine. Anything that checks the Windows Wonder number like many of Microsoft utilities notably won't work. But hardware is a much bigger issue. In the beta, wired internet was working fine, but the wireless internet was having problems. 50% of them are not working. The long and short of it, however, is that most things work fine, but some crucial hardware simply doesn't work at all. That's to be expected at this early stage. Overall, Vista Beta 1 was a good operating system in terms of performance even with Arrow theme, but the launch of Beta 1 is only for developers to check their program's compatibility. Windows Vista build 5342.2 was the official February CTV refresh build of Windows Vista, which was released to beta edition on 24 March 2006. It was the last build to include the wallpapers and user icon from Windows XP. Beta 2 Windows Vista build 5384.4. On May 23, 2006, Microsoft has finally shipped Windows Vista Beta 2 and make this release available to the public via Consumer Preview Program (CPP), whereby computer enthusiasts or anyone who is interested can order a free copy of Beta 2 on DVD and install it on their own computers. This is scary time for Microsoft. The company has gotten a lot of bad press lately for the delays and the broken and missing features. And now it's unleashing Windows Vista on the public. The company expected over 2 million people to install Windows Vista Beta 2. Microsoft's marketing material used terms like clarity, convenience, control, and communication to describe Windows Vista. What's new in Windows Vista Beta 2? There are the various bundle applications and their services that Microsoft included in Beta 2 in their major release of their high-level Windows Vista. New user interface. In Windows Vista, the Windows user interface has been completely rewritten to take advantage of hardware-accelerated 3D graphics. Windows take on an attractive and transparent glass-like look that has a sense of depth when you have multiple windows open on screen. There were new Windows preview that appears when you hover your mouse over tags or icon, and there's a new application feature called Flip 3D that appears when you use Windows key plus tab instead of the more usual Alt plus tab to cycle between open windows. On the back side, it's now harder to tell which window has the focus, and certain legacy applications look funny running inside of Arrow Glass. New Windows Explorer. Windows Explorer has been dramatically updated with a more consistent UI that makes navigating the system simpler. Instant search. One of the earliest features we heard about in Windows Vista was its instant search capabilities, which proved so popular that Apple shipped a similar feature in Mac OS X over a year ago, beating Microsoft to the market. Improved start menu. Performance improvements. New version of bundle applications. Vastly improved networking. Pervasive security features. Improved home user features. Improved mobility features. Improved business features. Finalization of Windows Vista. Development of Windows Vista came to an end when Microsoft announced that it has been finalized on November 8, 2006. Now everyone was waiting for the final official release of Windows Vista. The expectation was high because of the new Arrow theme, and the delays within the development make people believe that Windows Vista was more promising. It almost took Microsoft 6 years to complete the development of Windows Vista, including all the beta versions. The hopes were high and everyone was expecting Vista to be lightweight as Windows XP and run better or similar to Windows XP. Now it was a time for Microsoft to launch Windows Vista. The launch event was organized in New York City and all countries across the world. 30 January 2007. The launch of the new software product was held all the world with Microsoft founder Bill Gates and CEO Steve Ballmer themselves leading the celebration last Monday at Times Square in New York. The new product then went on sale in 17 different countries the next day. The launch event goes well. After the launch event, as soon as people got Vista publicly, they started upgrading from Windows XP to Vista. Windows Vista, the good and bad. Microsoft made previously niche features like tablet PC support and media center available to a much bigger audience than ever before. More to this point, these features are now available in retail version of Windows for the first time. Installation. Windows Vista was easier and faster to install than ever before, and as to if you are an individual user or corporate admin seeking to deploy the system automatically across numerous desktops, Vista's components design make this possible. Security. Microsoft did right at that time made Windows Vista far more reliable than Windows XP, and its new instrumentation capabilities will help find and repair any problem that do arise more quickly. New features. Windows Calendar, Windows Sidebar, and the new Game Explorer and game capabilities in general are surprisingly solid additions to Windows, an application that users were really excited to check out. Windows Vista digital media application are generally excellent, especially the new Windows Photo Gallery and Windows Media Center. Networking capabilities. Windows Vista networking capabilities were best of breed, thanks to the rewritten network stack and a well-considered UI. Windows Vista was the first mobility solution with amazing tablet PC features, a new mobility center, touch screen support, and more. Windows face recognition. But even with these major improvements in features, why Vista was unable to catch up in the market as Windows XP did. Confusing additions. Windows Vista shipped in too many far product editions, requiring user to make hard decisions which one to get and which one to not. User had to spend much money to get all the features they want. There were almost 8 different editions of Windows Vista. For consumer, there are really only two choices: Vista Home Premium and Vista Ultimate. Both were expensive, but both are also feature rich. To choose, simply look at the ultimate feature that are available in Home Premium and decide whether you can live without it or not. Buggy performance. Like all Windows 1000, Windows Vista was a memory hog. You will want at least 1 GB of RAM to run Windows and 2 GB the suite so if you are a heavy multitasker, a gamer, or a frequent user of gateway application. That said, RAM is cheap, so that isn't a huge problem. Some will make it out to be. Microsoft was sending mixed messages by releasing a separate media player application called June. Windows Ultimate Extra may have made available to other Vista users at a price. Restricting these options fully add-ons to only the most familiar Vista version is a slap in the face to users who can't afford Vista Ultimate. Wait a year on X64 unless you really know what you are doing. Lingering software compatibility so will dog most users until developers get up to speed with X64 specific issues. Besides all this, the main problem was the performance and the bugginess. The processor requirements were 3 times more than XP and the RAM requirements were 8 times more than XP. Windows Vista was the first Windows ever to require a graphic card or graphic driver for an OS to run. Requirement wise, it was 5 times more demanding than XP, which meant it was not a good OS for low-end PCs running Windows XP, and the users would try to install Windows Vista on their PC. Running XP faced low performance and crashes. From 2001 to 2007, between these years, technology have been drastically improved lighting processors like Core 2 Quad and AMD Athlon FX70, but these were all high-end CPUs which everyone can't afford. There were mainly three problems with Vista: high requirements, driver crashes and bugs, low performance. People assume Vista is a demanding OS with a lot of bugs, and these were the first impression of Vista, which made a bad image of Vista in the market. Users were afraid to upgrade Vista just because they had Vista was laggy OS with crashes and bugs, which was not what actual Vista was. Vista was failed not because of the high requirement, it was failed because of the image user imagined of Vista to be. Windows Vista SP1, February 4, 2008. Microsoft Vista SP1 represents a significant first move towards a faster, more secure, and slightly more open Vista. Browse, higher degree of program compatible than the RTM version. Increased speed within copying large files and connecting to a network PC. Overall speed improvement as well. Improvement in BitLocker encryption. Configurable search option. Cons. No real indication of memory fixation when using large graphic files. The Mojave experiment. After more than 80 months of bad press, Microsoft figured that if people saw Vista firsthand, they actually might like it. They took 120 people, Mac, Linux, and non-Vista Windows users, were invited to an interview to talk about their perception of Vista and rate the operating system on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being the best. Most people gave a very low rating to Vista with an average 4.4 and asked them what they thought of Windows Vista. They hated it because most of them had never seen it, but they heard about it. Their impression on Vista was, I wouldn't touch that thing, it's horrible, you have so many problems, I heard nothing but bad things of Vista, really? Next, in an attempt to challenge their pre-conceived opinions, Microsoft showed the same pieces with the latest version of Windows Mojave, and they loved it. Then they were told that Windows Mojave was actually Windows Vista. They gave much better rating for the new OS with an average of 8.5. Then they came the disclosure Mojave is actually Windows Vista. People had all sort of reaction. Really? This is good eye opener as far as perception versus reality. Why it is faster? Actually, Windows Vista was having problems after its initial release such as driver crashing and lags, but after SPM release, it fixed majority of the problems and made Vista stable and enjoyable. Mojave experience proved people that Vista was actually a good operating system and people actually loved it. The problem with Windows Vista had never been cool with its capabilities. Windows Vista was beautiful and has many exciting features and functions. The last service pack for Windows Vista was Service Pack 2, which was released on May 26, 2009. SP2 comes with some minor improvements. Windows Search 4.0 available was a separate update for Vista. Windows Search 4.0 offers better performance, enhanced group policy support, and the ability to index encrypted files. Bluetooth 2.1 support also available was as a separate update called the Windows Vista Feature Pack for Wireless. This update supports the latest version of Bluetooth wireless standard. Blu-ray data disk writing. With SP2, you can natively write to Blu-ray data disk from the Vista shell. This functionality doesn't include creating Blu-ray movies. XFAT file support improvements. Microsoft developed the extended FAT or XFAT file system as a more modern file system for flat devices such as USB storage. This is it overcome the 4 GB file size limit from FAT32 and can handle more than 1000 files in a single folder. Microsoft added extra support to Vista with SP1, but with SP2 support is extended to include coordinated universal time (UTC) timestamp, facilitating file synchronization across the time zones. Wi-Fi improvement: SP2 utilizes Windows Connect Now (WCN) technology to simplify Wi-Fi configuration. Wi-Fi connection performance is also improved when resuming from sleep mode. VIA 64-bit support: with SP2 Vista now supports 64-bit VIA microprocessors. Power management improvements: the default power management policies are approximately 10% more efficient than before. Windows Vista got officially support ended on April 10, 2012. Extended support ended on April 11, 2017. Microsoft has sold in more than 88 million copies of Windows Vista. Despite this overwhelming reception by consumers and enterprise, the numbers of Vista copies shipped continued to grow. In fact, within its first month, 20 million copies of Vista were sold, which was double the amount of Windows XP sales within its first month back in October 2001. Additionally, Microsoft announced that 100 million retail copies of Vista were sold. The operating system development history was quite complex within features based on new presentation layer called Avalon, a communication architecture named Indigo, and a retail storage platform called WinFS. Despite such challenges, Windows Vista made its mark in the Windows family of operating systems. Users who use Vista after SPM knows how good it was, but users who use Vista before SPM knows how bad it was.